Once upon a time, in a small village of Umocham, there was a young girl named Chisara. At just 15, Chisara's life took a dramatic turn when she found herself swept up in a sudden romance that led to an unexpected pregnancy. Despite the challenges, she welcomed the baby girl Chidubem with open arms. The baby's father, a young boy just a few years older than her, who was equally naive about life, had promised to care for Chidubem and even gifted her a lovely necklace at birth. But not long after, the boy's parents, hearing the news, had forced him to leave the village. His sudden departure led Chisara shattered and alone, shouldering the responsibility of raising Chidubem all by herself. 3 years passed, and Chisara, now 18, craved to rebuild her life. Desiring a better life, she pleaded with her mother. "Mama, please, can you cater for Chidubem while I go find work in the city? I'll return for her as soon as I'm well placed." Her mother agreed, and Chisara set out, determined to make a new start. In the bustling city, Chisara worked hard, and a few years later, when she was now 21, she met Anyanwu. Anyanwu was different from anyone Chisara had ever known. He was generous and warm, his laughter a balm to her weary soul. When he proposed, Chisara felt as if she had been given a fresh start, a new identity. But in accepting this life, she buried her past and left her village and her child in the shadows of her memory. Soon they were married, and Chisara felt she was beginning a beautiful new chapter. For 2 years, Chisara and Anyanwu enjoyed a peaceful life, sharing joys and laughter and building their dreams. But not long after, tragedy struck. Chisara received news that her mother had passed away, leaving young Chidubem all alone. With no other relatives, Chisara had no choice but to bring her daughter to live with her and Anyanwu. She knew she had to tell her husband the truth. With trembling hands, Chisara confessed her secret to Anyanwu, pleading for him to allow Chidubem to live with them. Anyanwu's face darkened. "You hid this kind of information from me all this while?" he asked, his voice laced with anger. "Please, Anyanwu, I really wanted to tell you. I just didn't know how. It happened so fast. Please, she's just a child. She has nowhere else in the village and she needs me. She needs her mother," Chisara begged, tears in her eyes. After many days of pleading, Anyanwu finally agreed, but his warmth towards Chisara turned cold. When Chisara brought Chidubem into their home, the shift in Anyanwu was immediate. Gone was the warmth, the easy laughter and the joy in the house. He hated the interruption and he didn't pretend about it, seeing the child as an unwanted reminder of a life Chisara had hidden from him. His love turned to cold disdain and his displeasure cooked like a pot ready to boil over. He accused Chisara of deception and demanded that she send Chidubem back to any close relative in the village, knowing full well that there was no one left to take care of her. Despite Chisara's several pleas, Anyanwu's resentment only grew. Days turned into months, then years, and Chidubem became a source of daily torment. An innocent soul caught in the bitterness of her parents, Anyanwu complained of her every move. Chidubem, though young, sensed the rejection and sadness settled over her like a shadow she could never shake. The days turned into bitter, silent months. Yet Anyanwu's resentment festered, and Chidubem felt the sting of his cold stares. At every meal, he sat as far from her as possible, his eyes avoiding hers. She felt like an intruder in her own mother's home. "Why does he hate me so much, Mama?" Chidubem whispered one night, tears spilling down her cheeks. Chisara held her close, her own heart breaking. "I'm so sorry, my love. I never thought it would be this way. Am I the problem, Mama?" Chidubem's voice was barely a whisper, the weight of rejection pressing on her young shoulders. "Mbanu, my daughter, you are a sweet girl, and soon he will come to realize that," she said assuringly. But even then, Chisara's assurances couldn't drown out the bitterness that had taken root in Anyanwu's heart. As Chidubem grew older, Anyanwu's disdain deepened, especially because Chisara could not bear him a child. When she turned 12, Chisara's heart broke to see her daughter become the target of her husband's cold words and quiet cruelty. Yet, she felt powerless, trapped between her husband's anger and her daughter's silent suffering. "You're the reason your mother can't bear me children," he would scream at Chidubem. "You are cursed!" But Chidubem, knowing how much he hated her, would always find a way to avoid him. However, a few months later, another tragedy struck. One night, after a heated argument with Anyanwu, Chisara had decided to step outside the house to receive some fresh air and clarity and to cool her head. As she walked down the street, her mind full of thoughts, she didn't notice the honking from a truck, that its brakes had failed. Unfortunately, it hit her and she died at the spot. News of the accident spread quickly and before long reached Anyanwu, who blamed Chidubem for her mother's death. The days that followed were now even worse, as Anyanwu poured out his frustration and guilt on Chidubem. He would beat Chidubem without mercy and leave her with scars on the body, tagging her a witch who comes with nothing but trouble. Months passed, and Anyanwu's bitterness seemed to intensify. Soon, he remarried a woman named Ned, who shared his cold disposition. With Ned in the household, life became unbearable for Chidubem. The girl, now nearly 14, was treated with cruelty beyond words. Her every action was criticized. Every day was a battle against the harsh words and merciless glares from her stepmother and father. They blamed her for every misfortune, every bad omen, and treated her like a slave, beating her up at the slightest provocation. At her young age of 14, she cleaned, cooked, and made sure to do all the laundry and house chores in the house to avoid their wrath. One day, Neddy called out to Anyanwu, "We need to get rid of this girl. She's nothing but bad luck." Anyanwu nodded in approval. "I used to have so much peace in my house until this witch entered my house," he said, looking at her with so much hate. Neddy suggested that she should be married off. That way, they can make money from the deal surrounding the marriage rights. And soon after, they arranged for 14-year-old Chidubem to be married. Chidubem was set to marry an elderly man who paid them very well. Without a choice, she was sent to the man's home, her heart heavy with fear and sadness. On the wedding day, a strange thing had happened. One of the very few guests who had come to witness the event had sighted Chidubem. Seeing her closely, he froze. Her resemblance to her first love Chisara was striking, and much more was the necklace around her neck. It was a gift he had once given to her long-lost love Chisara. Tears filled his eyes as he approached her. Are you Dubem?" he asked, his voice a mix of guilt and shame. "Do I know you?" Chisara asked, her tears welling in her eyes. "Are you Chisara's daughter?" he asked again. "Yes," she answered. Immediately, the man rushed to the groom, who incidentally was his eldest brother. "You can't marry, brother. She's your niece. You can't be married to your niece." Without hesitation, the marriage was called off. "You deserve so much more," Odinaka said to her softly, his voice heavy with compassion as he looked at Chidubem. His gaze softened as he could see traces of her mother Chisara in her face. The same sad eyes, the same quiet strength. Memories flooded back. Memories of the promises he had made to her mother all those years ago. He had sworn to protect her, to be there through thick and thin, and yet he had failed her when she needed him most. Guilt rose within him, a deep, aching regret he could no longer ignore. "I should have been there for you, for your mother. I should have never let her face this world alone," he whispered, his eyes misting with tears. "I won't let you suffer again like this. Never, not anymore." Chidubem looked up, surprised by the kindness in his voice, a kindness she had rarely known. In that moment, she felt something shift, a fragile hope breaking through years of hardship. Odinaka reached out and gently took her hand. "You are family, Chidubem, and family deserves love and respect," he said firmly, as if making a vow. He quickly took her under his wings, teaching her, guiding her, and giving her the fatherly love she had never known. He sent her to school, encouraged her dreams, and showed her a world beyond sorrow and suffering. In his home, Chidubem not only found safety, but also a chance to blossom, to discover her own strength and resilience. For the first time in her life, she began to truly feel seen, valued, and loved. She realized she wasn't alone and that she was worthy of happiness and respect. And from that moment on, she embraced this new life with a fierce determination to become someone her mother would be proud of. Under Mr. Odinaka's care, Chidubem flourished. Over time, she blossomed into a confident young woman filled with grace and determination. Years later, after studying law, she opened her own law firm with Mr. Odinaka's support, becoming known for her tenacity and her work to help the poor access justice. Years later, Chidubem, now a respected human rights lawyer, often visited the prisons to help those in need of justice who were poor. One day, as she was making her normal rounds in the prison, she heard the familiar voice call out her name. She turned and saw Anyanwu, her wicked stepfather, behind bars. Anyanwu was now a shadow of his former self, his once potent figure now weak. He looked withered, with his eye dull. His skin clung to his bones, mapping the hardships he had endured. "Chidubem!" Anyanwu's voice cracked as he called her name. His desperation echoed through the crowded prison yard. "Please, help me, help me! I've been here for 3 years. I'm dying in here. Chidubem, please!" His frail body pressed against the bars, fingers clutching them like a lifeline as he called out. Chidubem's heart skipped as she approached him, barely recognizing the broken man before her. His once sharp eyes were sunken, filled with a hopelessness that seemed to swallow him whole. She listened, her expression unreadable, as Anyanwu began to speak. We lost everything, Chidubem," he choked out, his voice shaking. "Your stepmother, Nede, she got so sick, and all the money went into her treatment. My business even collapsed while trying to meet up with the medical bills. I was desperate, and I had to look for a job to stay alive." He paused, his voice a mix of shame and exhaustion. "Then one day, the man I was working for accused me. He said I stole, but I didn't steal. It was the manager who took the money and fled. He left me to face the blame alone. I've tried to explain severally, tried to tell my boss it wasn't me, but he wouldn't listen." Anyanwu's voice broke, his face crumpling with regret. Please, Chidubem, please. I've used every last kobo I have fighting this case. 3 years now, and I still don't know what will happen to me. Please help me. I'm tired of staying here. Please. He looked up, a flicker of vulnerability in his gaze. I know. I know I wronged you. I'm so sorry for all the pain I caused you. Please, Pico, help me, Chidubem. You're my only hope. Chidubem stared at him, her emotions a storm of memories and feelings. This was the man who had made her childhood a living nightmare, who had treated her like an outsider in her own mother's house. Yet now, he was nothing but a shadow of that man, a frail, defeated soul pleading for the help he had never once shown her. For a moment, Chidubem thought of walking away, leaving him to the fate he had so bitterly handed her. But then, she remembered the kindness her mother had instilled in her and the love and support from Mr. Odinaka, the man who had taken her and treated her with so much care. With a deep breath, she met Anyanwu's eyes, the coldness in her gaze softening just a little. "I'll help you," she said quietly, her voice steady. "Not for you, but because I've learned to be better than what you were to me. I won't carry bitterness in my heart forever." She turned, instructing the prison guards to give her more time with the prisoner. She began the process of sorting through the tangled mess of his case. Over the coming weeks, Chidubem worked tirelessly. She dug through evidence, tracking down witnesses, using her skills to untangle the truth. And though her heart held no affection for Anyanwu, she felt a sense of relief, knowing she could confront the darkest parts of the past with strength and compassion. Eventually, her hard work paid off, and Anyanwu was released. When he emerged from the prison, he looked at Chidubem with a mix of gratitude and shame, unable to fully meet her eyes. "Thank you, Chidubem. I know I'll never be able to repay you," he murmured. Chidubem simply nodded, her face calm. "Live your life differently now," she replied. "Make this second chance mean something. Remember, forgiveness is a gift. Don't take it lightly." With that, Chidubem turned and walked away, feeling as if a weight had been lifted. She had freed herself from the chains of the past, choosing to rise above bitterness and resentment. And in doing so, she reclaimed her story, her strength, and her peace. Chidubem went on to dedicate her life to helping others who felt voiceless, determined to be the light for others that she had once needed. She had transformed her pain into power and showing that even the deepest wounds could be healed, not by holding on to it, but by choosing compassion even when it seemed impossible. The end. Thank you so much for watching this enthralling story of Chidubem, a journey filled with hardship, resilience, and the remarkable strength of forgiveness. Chidubem's story teaches us that no matter how deep our pain may run, choosing kindness and compassion is a true path to freedom. She showed us that holding on to bitterness only chains us to the past, while forgiveness allows us to move forward, reclaiming peace and strength. This story also reminds us that our circumstances don't define us. Chidubem could have let her past destroy her, but she chose to rise above it, turning her struggles into a life of purpose and impact. Her journey inspires us to let go of resentment, find strength within ourselves, and help others in need. What do you take away from Chidubem's story? And if you were in her shoes, would you have made the same choice to forgive? Do you think Anyanwu was wrong in feeling the way he felt about Chisara? I would like to know in the comments below. Please share your thoughts and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who might need a little encouragement today. Until next time, keep spreading kindness and remember, your strength is in your story. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.